Welcome to episode 26 of the Full Armor of Game podcast with myself, Adam, and Czar of Dating. So today we are going to do a topic episode from a listener request. This is from Chris, podcast listener. He sent a message saying, he said, finish every episode of the podcast, re-listened a few times, finish all 25 episodes in 5 days. Incredible value. Thank you, fellas. So I asked Chris if there's anything he wanted us to talk about, and he mentioned a topic: how long to go from texting a woman to talking on the phone or FaceTiming her, something of that nature. So in this episode, we are going to break down the different types of texting, talking on the phone, or FaceTime, and how Czar and I both see that. We may have differing opinions, so we will find that out today.
You bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. This is Sparta! Put on the whole armor of game. This is where we fight! And these shield boys!
And special announcement for you guys, our 5-week seminar is now open for March 6th, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. You guys get all of our courses included for free. We basically grab your hand and we walk with you from beginning to end on attraction, comfort, seduction, how to keep a woman chasing you, how to get her to fall in love with you, how to keep her submissive. Guys, we teach you everything you need to know within those 5 weeks, and you can bring in any type of questions you have as well. So for the loyal podcast listeners, when you click on the link, let us know that you came from the podcast, that you support us, that you've been listening to us, and the price will be $5.99 for you guys. Everyone else will pay $7.99. And we know who the podcast listeners are, because if you click on that link and you tell us you came from the podcast, obviously you've been listening to our podcast. And the people that do not listen to our podcast, they're going to have to pay more for it. And they get all of our courses. They get the Texting Princess courses included. He teaches you the dating profile game, the dating messaging game, the texting game. He is a master at the texting game, fellas. You'll get my attraction ebook with videos, over 3 hours of videos. You'll also get my relationship ebook and the Czar's 12-week workout program for those broad shoulders and that slim waist that makes women drool like Pavlov's dog. That's what you guys get. That's the offer. Starts March 6th. We were booked up for February, but now we have an opening for you guys. The spots get taken up very quickly. You can also make monthly payments. We understand everyone's struggling. Times are tough. So you can make monthly payments, and you get to learn the game from beginning to end. 17 years of experience they learn within 5 weeks in all of our courses.
Yep. 17, well, about what, 17 a piece, basically. They're getting 30 years of experience with the combination of us two. And so, guys, yeah, like you said, you'll see the link below. Click on the link and you apply for it. So there's an application process that you fill out. And in that application is where you guys will mention at some point, hey, we listened to the podcast, because when you guys mention that and you join, you'll get $200 off, like Czar mentioned there. So podcast listeners, we always take special care of you guys for supporting us. And again, that will start March 6th. So get the applications in. The way this works is we're going to start sending out emails. Remember, we're only taking 10 guys or less on this so that you get a lot of personal coaching time between Czar and I to get all your questions answered. So when you're ready, put that application in. We'll send you guys an email if we think you're a good fit. And then once you make your first payment, you will have access to all of our courses. So you can come in here, you can pay right away and start digging into all the courses to prepare for that March 6th starting time. And now let's get into the episode. So, Czar, how would you tackle this? How do you like to go from, texting, talking on the phone, or FaceTime? Do you have a preference, or like what do you kind of rely on?
So with me, it's all about timing. It's all about the situation. It depends. So let's say I match with the girl on Facebook dating, Hinge, or Bumble. I'm going to want to FaceTime her. Number one, so I don't get catfished. Number two, so I know this is a real person and I don't get scammed on a dating app because that's been happening a lot lately. Number three, I will FaceTime a woman to gauge her level of interest. And when your game is tight and you want her to feel your masculine energy, you want her to experience your charm, your charisma, you being cocky and funny, the way you present yourself, because you can always boost their attraction for you. Their attraction can always rise if you FaceTime them. That's how you solidify the date. That's how I do it on dating profiles because I know my game is very tight. My mouthpiece is on point. 99% of the times when I have FaceTime a girl I matched with on a dating profile, I've not only went out with her that weekend, but I also got laid that same night. You guys cannot hide behind the phone. I don't care how good your messaging game is. I don't care how good your texting game is. You need to be able to FaceTime a woman and convey your confidence. Because what happens with a lot of guys is they show up on that date, their messaging game is on point, and they fail the congruency test. The woman looks at this guy and says to herself, who is this guy? Where was that confident, charming, cocky, and funny guy I was messaging the entire time? This happens with good-looking guys as well. So you cannot be nervous. You have to be cool, calm, and collected. You have to believe in yourself. It's just another woman, fellas. Who gives a crap? She shits just like you and I do. For every beautiful woman out there, there's a man tired of fucking her. That's how I see it. And you know what? If she doesn't want to hang out with me, it's her fucking loss. But I prefer the FaceTime because I want to see what she looks like without filters. I want to see what she looks like without makeup. So I'll let her know. I'll give her a heads up after I get the number. Hey, listen, let me know when you're available to FaceTime. Ask them. Don't just FaceTime them out of the blue. Ask them, give them a heads up. Because sometimes that's creepy. Like a girl, she's not going to answer when she least expects you to FaceTime her. A lot of women are very insecure. The timing is off. Their makeup's not on. They don't look their best. Whatever the excuse, fellas. But I give them a heads up. I'm going to FaceTime you Wednesday night then when you're available. Usually in the evenings at nights, women aren't doing anything. Okay. I could be going for a drive, pull into a quick check, and quickly FaceTime them. That's how much confidence I have. I literally don't give a fuck. I can talk to them for 5, 10 minutes, but this is when you start to riz them up. Another thing, you can tell how interested this woman is in you, Adam, by her personality, whether she's laughing, whether she's asking you intriguing questions, whether she wants to know more about you. I know if I'm wasting my time or not with this woman based off her interest when I FaceTime her. This saves me a headache. This saves me from girls flaking on me. This saves me from me just spending my money to no avail. So that's what separates the high interest girls from the low interest girls. I know if there's a girl that just wants a free meal ticket, okay, she's not that interested. She might flake. But the FaceTime solidifies the success rate of the girl showing up and the girl wanting to see you because you're building that comfort with her. If you don't have that comfort, she doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. So she doesn't care if she flakes on you. That's my strategy when it comes to the dating profile.
Okay, yeah. So that's the yeah. So uh I don't I pretty much never will FaceTime a girl. I will almost never do it. However, the things you mentioned, I definitely see that's a route you could take with trying to, if you got that good in-person game and you're, really confident in person, and so you want to just FaceTime her and just try to get it all done right there. But so I still never do that. However, I like that you mentioned that you won't just randomly FaceTime her. I think that would be the worst thing to do, is just trying to randomly FaceTime a girl, because like you said, girls will be nervous. They'll be like, this is weird. Like, girls are used to texting and messaging everything these days. So even when someone calls them, like, just think if you're just talking to a random person, they call you, like, I feel like a part of people is just like, why are you calling me? Just text me. So I never go that FaceTiming route, but with the way that Czar mentioned it, that is definitely an option as long as you do like what Czar mentioned is where you're not FaceTiming her out of the blue because the worst thing you can do is just trying to call a girl out of the blue or just trying to FaceTime her. And then if she picks up or she doesn't pick up or she doesn't pick up, then in a sense that looks like you got rejected. You tried calling her, she didn't pick up, or you tried FaceTime her, she didn't pick up. And then where do you go from there? Oh, well, now what? Do I text her again? Do I wait for her? I can't call her again. That would look really desperate. So I don't like to get myself into that type of hole. But like Czar mentioned, if you set it up in a way of like, hey, when are you free Wednesday night? I want to do a quick FaceTime to make sure you're not a crazy person. I would say something like that if I was going to go that route, because then she's like, oh, okay, he just wants to make sure that I'm cool. And then if I did do that, I would keep it very short, 5 minutes or 10 minutes
Mhm.
max. And then I would make up a reason I have to go. But like Czar said, the goal would be to establish comfort, to make sure she's not catfishing you um, in those aspects. So yeah, the reason why I don't like FaceTiming, again, I do see the benefits of it, like Czar mentioned. The careful thing with that is, again, especially with girls I'm meeting early on, I want to keep myself having a busy image up so girls think my time's in demand, so that she respects my time. So you can't sit around FaceTime her all day long, talking on the phone all day long because you look too available to her. I also always want to keep my mystery high. So the more time I'm spending on the phone with her trying to get to know her or on FaceTime, there's less she's wondering about me. So it can take away some mystery, but there is that fine line, like Czar mentioned, meeting a girl on a dating app, that can actually be a strategy then to build a little comfort early on. Again, my text game is so tight that I can figure all that out. I can get girls to send me pics to make sure she's not catfishing me and all that. But with the FaceTiming there, I do see that you can kind of play that either way. Again, if you're a really confident guy like Camille from 2 months ago, our seminar, I bet you he'd be a great one where he could just FaceTime. He has really good charisma, confidence, and that would establish that comfort right away with a woman. So me, I don't lean on it, but like Czar mentioned, if you follow those type of steps, then that could be an option for it. Um, so Czar, let's say you did go the route of FaceTiming, like Chris mentioned in our question when he said, what's your texting or messaging looking like before that to where you're uh going in for the FaceTime then? Is it early on? Are what are you looking for before you're making that move?
Well, when I text a woman, I always tell guys when you first meet them, don't text them in the morning. Don't text them during lunch. Don't text them early afternoon. What are most women doing when they get home? They're on Netflix. They're sitting on the couch. They're on their phones. That's when you really want to message a girl. I noticed there is a difference. I'll message them late in the afternoon, in the evening, maybe even at night before 9 p.m. I get the most responses from sending out those types of messages. And I'll keep the conversation going. Little cocky and funny. I'll make bold statements. I'll tease her about something she was wearing, something she was doing, bring up a special type of conversation we were having, maybe like an inside joke where she can laugh at that. And another thing, if I meet them out late at night, say if I'm at a bar or at a social venue, I'll take a picture of me and her. I do this specifically so I can send her that picture several nights later, maybe even the next night when I plan on messaging her. Brings back those feelings of when she first met me. And now she sees you and her standing next to each other. She's like, damn, I forgot he took a picture of us. Instant reply. You always get an instant reply. So use that to your advantage. But when I want to go back to the FaceTime, I forgot to mention something. So say if I like a girl's vibe, I like her energy. I'll set up the date right then and there while I'm on the FaceTime. What kind of trouble are you getting into this weekend? Cool, meet me out for drinks. How does 8 p.m. work? Set up the date. If I don't like her vibe, I don't really like her energy. I'll tell her, okay, listen, it was cool talking to you, fun talking to you. I'm gonna message you when I'm free and available so we can set up the date. And I'll probably never message her ever again. Okay. So that's usually how I play that FaceTime. Okay. I just wanted to go back to let
Yeah, I
guys
like
know how I set up the date.
yeah, I like that. You could use that for setting up the date in person to really kind of gauge her reaction. The same thing I would do through text message and gauge her responses. You
Hmm.
could do that in person and kind of gauge how, oh, she does she look like she's excited for the day? Does she kind of look like she's scrambling to make an excuse so I can't be busy? Like that, you could actually find that out uh, from looking at it there. Um, and then the only thing I would say is on that, if you're FaceTiming her at the end, instead of saying, "Hey, I'll message you when I'm available," I would just tell her at the end, say, "Hey, gotta go. It was great chatting to you. You know, send me a message, or send me a text sometime." And I would just leave it in her court to give her that
Hmm.
opportunity to come in and start chasing me. That'd be the only thing I would do differently there. Uh,
Yes, that's smart. That's smart. You might attract the crazies that way too, though.
I can
Okay.
deal with
So
the crazies.
if I want nothing to do with her, if I want nothing to do with her, I want the ball in my court, and I'll tell her, oh, when my schedule frees up, I'll message you. We'll go out. And I probably will never message that girl ever again. That's why I like to FaceTime.
Well,
Because if I'm
hey, Zar, if you don't ever want to talk to her again, you know what a better strategy would be is just say, "Hey, it was great FaceTiming you. I'm going to FaceTime you again tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day." And then you'll easily lose her right there. She'll be
or
like,
tell her
"Oh,
how much
nope,
you like
I'm
her.
done."
Tell
Yeah.
her how much you like her and you
Oh,
can't
I
live
think I'm in
without her.
love with you.
Yeah.
I think you're my soulmate. You can
I'm
tell her
looking
that
for a
right away.
relationship. Yeah, or tell them you're looking for a relationship. You'll get whatever you can get your hands on. You'll take whatever you can get your hands on. Watch how quickly a girl leaves you.
Yeah. Okay. So now I want to mention phone call piece because I would use the phone call more than I would use the FaceTime. But again, I stick to my text, mostly if I can. But is there scenarios where you would use a phone time over FaceTime, or do you not use the phone call much, or how do you play that?
No, I like the phone call, but only see, it depends on the situation. A lot of the times a phone call can scare a girl away, especially if she hasn't saved your number. Now she has to answer and ask you, who's this? If she doesn't like you, in her mind, she's going to tell herself, shit, why did I answer? I've had that happen to me before. And then you ask them out and they let you know by saying this, oh, I'll let you know, or we'll see. You'll never see that girl, by the way, fellas. So sometimes it's embarrassing to call a girl. You really have to be socially calibrated. I'll call a girl if we've been texting for quite some time. The comfort has been built where it's okay to initiate that phone call. And a lot of older women, if you're dating older women, fellas, I prefer to call them on the phone because a lot of older women, they're not really tech savvy. They don't have time to text back and forth. They prefer that you call them. And they'll tell you this. Say if they haven't responded to your text in quite some time, they'll let you know, sorry, I'm bad at texting. I hate texting. If she tells me that, that's my cue to start calling her instead. And I've done that before with success, going out with these older women, sleeping with them. So it's not that they're saying that to lie to you. A lot of older women just prefer the old fashioned way, a man to call her. Now, a lot of the younger girls, yeah, stick with text messaging. Unless if you've already slept with her, you built that comfort, you've went out on a date or two, it's okay to call them. But with the younger girls, I wouldn't advise that you give them a phone call because it can come off as creepy, needy, stalkerish.
Do younger girls even know how to talk on the phone? Do they even know that's an option?
Probably not. Probably not. No. They'll use Snapchat, they'll use social media. I had a guy from our seminar who told me that there was a girl at a party that he met that he knew a while back. He rekindled things with her and he finally asked her for her number so they can go out together. And she said, "Oh, how about you take my Snapchat instead? That's my biggest means of communication." And he took her Snapchat. I told him, "Why would you do that? You have to tell her, I don't even know what a Snapchat is. Never had one, never will. Either you give me your number or we're never talking at all." Like you have to draw the line in the sand. Because I tell guys, anytime I've asked a woman for her phone number, Adam, and to everyone listening, if they respond with, no, how about you take my Instagram instead? And if you take their Instagram like another thirsty fan, as if she's a celebrity now, you are never going to hang out with that girl. I don't think, I swear to God when I say this, I don't think I've ever gone out with a girl who has ever suggested that I take her Instagram instead of her phone number. Not once. The mystery is gone. And if you're not living life like the Tinder swindler or Andrew Tate, you don't have pictures of you or videos on a private jet, driving a Lambo, it's not going to work for you, especially in today's day and age. Get the phone number. Draw the line in the sand. The phone number is more personal. It's much more personal. My success rate has always been higher when I get the phone number because she can't disqualify you based off your social media. And women are always finding ways to disqualify men. And all it takes is your Instagram, your Snapchat, your Facebook, and you're done. But if you get her to like you first, go out on that first date, sleep with her, your social media is not going to matter to her anymore. Don't
So
fall for that.
with the things you mentioned there, because again, I do it differently is where I will never take a girl's phone number. Just like you won't take her Instagram, I won't take a girl's phone number. I could care less about that. If a girl tries to give me her phone number, I'll give her mine. I will always give a girl my phone number, period. And to me, that helps too, where instead of going, hey, what's your phone number? And she doesn't feel comfortable. So she goes, well, here, I'll give you my Instagram instead or my Snapchat. That's why I wouldn't even care to ask for a girl's phone number. I would just say at some point, if I see the signs, I'm like, okay, she seems interested. I'll just go, hey, send me a text sometime. And I'll use what the older women use when they'll talk to you. I'll say it to women all the time. I'll just go, I'm not good at checking this thing. If I'm on a dating app, send me a text. So I'll say stuff like that. So then those girls will feel the same way and they're like, okay, he's not good at checking his dating app. So now she'll come back and text me. But now I don't have to sit there and wonder whether she likes me or not. I give her my phone number and she either texts me and now we play it off or she doesn't. And if she didn't text me when I gave her my phone number, she wouldn't have wanted to text me if she gave me hers. So by me giving her my phone number, I just take out the confusion in that extra step of trying to figure things out. I'd rather just here's my phone number, and then uh, I'll even go like there's girls that will when I give them my phone number, they'll give me their phone number right after that, and they'll expect me to text them, and I still won't do it because I gave her my phone number first. She has it. I'm waiting for her to come into me, and that also creates that kind of funnel of her chasing after me rather than me chasing after her. So I will always give out my phone number
Mhm.
first. But if you said like that you'll call a girl, how would you do that again? Because to me, that's another step of the FaceTime where you don't want to FaceTime a girl out of the blue. I don't want to call a girl out of the blue. So how would you go about the call thing then?
I wouldn't. If she, like I said, if she's a younger girl, I wouldn't. Unless if I know I've built the
But an
comfort
older
up.
woman, like if she like, would you just fire a phone call at her and hope she picks up?
No, so I'll text her first just to see if she's a good texter or not. And they'll usually tell you, sorry, I'm bad at texting. I'm not trying to ignore you. That's the cue for me to start calling her instead. Okay. Or unless she starts entering my world where she knows after I've slept with her and the attachment's built, she knows and the only way to get my attention is for her to start learning how to text now and text me back at a timely fashion. So that takes time for me to establish with an older woman. But I'm telling you, with these younger girls, they're so used to the digital world, texting, messaging, Snapchat, social media. If you call a girl, you might scare her away because a lot of guys, 99% of men, I'm sure, aren't doing that right off the gate. So when I get a girl's number, I'll tell her, I'll text you sometime this week. Okay. Maybe I'll text you sometimes. I like saying maybe. Like maybe I'll see you this weekend. Maybe I'll text you sometimes this week because maybe isn't really thirsty. It's not a needy word, right? Maybe, if you grab my interest, I'll text you. That's basically what I'm trying to say subconsciously, right? But Going back to what you said, back in the day, I used to always give girls my number first because they didn't have as many options as they do now. And I would get so many texts where I like a girl chasing me, and it shows me she's highly interested. If a girl texts you first, especially from a dating app, it shows that she has very high interest for you. But nowadays, I still do that depending on how well the sexual tension is, depending on how high the attraction level is, and depending on whether or not I might still see this girl at a certain place like the gym. I'll give her my number. Like, fuck it, because I don't care. I'm already talking to so many women. I don't give a fuck if she messages me or not. That's when I'll do it. When I'm already not hungry, I'll just start giving them my phone number where I just don't give a fuck if they message me or not. But if I know this is a girl I'm very attracted to, I really want to go out with her, I do it the old fashioned way. Here, put your number in my phone. What do we always tell you guys? You have to add the because. Give them a reason. Because I want to go out with you. I want to grab a drink with you. Let's grab a cup of coffee together. Don't just say, here, give me your number. Psychologically, we talk about this in our seminar. They're 70% more likely to comply when you add a because, when you add a reason. It's just human nature. If you just go in front of a person and you try to cut them in line, excuse me, can I cut you in line? They're all going to say no, fuck off. But if you give them a reason, can I cut you in line? I'm in a rush. My mom's in the hospital. My wife's having a baby. They'll all let you through as long as you give them a good reason. It doesn't even have to be a good reason, but you can't just say, give me your number. Give me your number because remember that, fellas. That's very powerful. So it all depends on the situation. I used to do that all the time. Give girls my number here. You can text me if you want because I was getting so many women working at that fitness center when I was younger and all these other jobs. I just did not give a flying fuck. I didn't care if these girls texted me or not. And then 6 months later, a year later, you'd get that text out of the blue. It was so
Yeah.
fucking random, but there's always a timing for something. Say if you're the rebound, they want to get revenge on their boyfriend, on their ex. You're the first person they think of. They'll give you that text. Hey, big head, at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. You already know what time it is. What I usually tell them is, what are you doing? Come over. That's it. It's that easy. And they'll meet up with you.
So for the phone call for me, there are two specific scenarios that I actually do use the phone call, but again, this is more it's typically type like last resort. So I guess this one is one where this is where I'd consistently use the phone number, and this is where if I'm setting a date with a girl, especially a dating app, like I haven't met her in person, and we set up a date to meet out at the bar at 8 p.m. or whatever. Then what I'll say is like once we plan that date, I'll say, all right, hey, like if I end up getting there, or I'll just say, whoever gets there first, save a spot. And then if I'm there before she is, I'll say, hey, I got a table. Give me a call when you park, and I'll walk you to the table. And that is the one reason I'll use that is like when I haven't met her yet, is that when she walks in and there's that awkward kind of first meeting thing and she's kind of walking in wondering where you're sitting and all that stuff, I'll say that like, hey, give me a call when you park and I'll come let you in, or I'll come save the day and let you in type thing. So then what I'm getting is I'm getting that initial comfort right before we sit down together. She calls me in the parking lot, hey, I'm here. I say, hey, all right, I'll come meet you at the door. And then that's when I just use that little micro 1 minute of a little comfort building before she sees me in person. She hears my voice, I hear her voice, and then I can walk up and I can be like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and then I can walk her over to the table. So that is one small time that I'll use the phone consistently in that scenario. If I'm there, hey, just give me a call to just ease the beginning nerves for her when she's coming in. And then the only other time that I'll really use a phone call um, for like strategy purposes is every once in a while when I'm meeting a girl on like a dating app and she's really difficult. So girls that are like the really like, the beautiful women that get a lot of guys matching with them, a lot of guys messaging them. there are some times then when I'm playing it as cool as I possibly can play it through texting, and she's still not quite budging. And there's been a few scenarios then where, in my mind, the girl is judging my congruency. She's like, okay, this guy's confident, he's witty, he's cocky, but she's still not buying it. She's still like, I don't know if this guy is for real, right? I don't know if he's just talking a big game or not. So in those scenarios, there's been times where the girl is being really, really difficult, something like that. And I'll mention, something about like I did this one time, this girl was beautiful and she had this really sexy like profile picture in this dress showing her cleavage and all that. And she was not giving me anything. And the only thing I was able to do is I said something like, I like messaged her like, whoa, I just noticed this or something along that. And she goes, what's that? And I go, what's up with your feet? Question mark. And I sent that to her, and she was like, what do you mean? And I saw that I got a little bit of a reaction out of her. She's a beautiful woman. It doesn't look like she has any flaws. And I said that, that cute dress pic, what's up with your feet? And she's like, what? What do you mean? You don't like my feet? And then at that point, I said something like, I said, like, call me sometime. And so she called me right away. And from there, I picked up the phone. And from there, we had this little banter. And I don't even remember what the excuse I made about her feet was, but she called me and she was like, okay, what's up? What's up with my feet? And from there, I had like a 5 minute confident, charismatic exchange where I was witty and all that stuff. And from that moment on, that girl got highly engaged because she saw the congruency. She's like, okay, this guy is tough in texting. Now he backed it up with the phone call. And then from there, I was able to set up a date with this girl and then happily ever after on that scenario. But again, I only use that as like a last resort of like, this girl is really hard. But if I do those scenarios, other times, like you say, older women or other women too, because I don't give them very much with messaging, I'll get girls, especially on dating apps, that will say something like, hey, can we talk on the phone sometime? And that is her telling me, hey, I want to build a little comfort with you. She's like, I want to, see if there's a voice to this messaging. And again, in those scenarios, I'll say something like, yeah, when are you free for a call? And then she'll tell me, well, I can do it Wednesday or whatever. And I'll go, okay, give me a call. And I'll say it like that. Give me a call Wednesday at 6:30. And so if I do that, I'm setting up to where she is calling me. So now if Wednesday at 6:30 rolls around, I don't sit there and go, hey, are you going to call me? I don't call her. I just live my life. And if she calls me, I can take that call then. But if she doesn't call me, I don't even care. I'm just like, if it ever comes up again, next time I chat with her, I'll be like, hey, my bad. I forgot about our phone call. So I make it seem like it slipped my mind, not hers. But I'm never going to sit there and go, okay, 6:30, we're supposed to call. She didn't call me, so now I'm going to call her. So I always leave it in the girl's court. And I set that up and she confirmed 6:30. Great. Now I'm expecting her to call me. And if she doesn't, I don't care. I move on with my life and I don't think twice about it. But I always want it to be in her court. So now it's her getting that opportunity to, again, initiate, her getting that opportunity to start chasing me. And then if she doesn't, I don't care. That just tells me, all right, it slipped her mind. I wasn't that high interested in her anyway. So now I'm going to back off, create a little bit more space for her. And then if that situation comes up again, I'll play it the same way. Oh, if she really wants to talk on the phone, I'll set it up to where, okay, when are you free? Give me a call then. And I'll play that cycle. But again, I typically won't ever go to that on my own. It's usually if a girl says, hey, can we talk? Or hey, can we FaceTime or something like that? And then again, if we do have that call, I'm going to keep it 10 minutes, 15 minutes at max to just establish comfort and connection and get a little flirty vibe. And then I'm going to make up an excuse of why I have to go. And that excuse is going to be something that raises my status. Hey, I got to go. I'm reading a book. Hey, I got to go. I got some work I got to finish. Hey, I got to go. I got to wake up early for my morning workout. Hey, I got to go. I'm going out with some buddies later. Like whatever it is, I'm making up an excuse to go that will build my status. Not, hey, I got to go. I want to watch 10 hours of Netflix. That's not a good excuse. That's
Or
not
I'm
going to
going to
make your.
sleep. Or I'm going to sleep. Don't ever
Yeah.
say that.
Well,
Don't
yeah.
ever
The
say
only
that.
way I would do that is if I'm like, hey, I gotta go. I got an early morning workout before a big day of work. So
Hmm.
even in that case, if I'm doing it because I'm framing it is of I'm a guy that has a busy life. I take my workout seriously. I take my work seriously. So how I will always set it up is again going to try to raise my status with that girl. But again, I rely on texting 98% of the time.
And if you call a girl or when I FaceTime a girl, this is the best way to end it. When you're on top of that roller coaster, right before you go down on that peak, end the phone call. So say if you two are laughing, she's having a great time talking to you, abruptly end it and tell her, hey, listen, I have to go. It was good talking to you, and just hang up. That fucks with the girl so much because you had her up here at such a high emotion. You had her at the high waves of emotions, and all of a sudden you just abruptly end it. That fucks with the girl mentally. Now she's going to be thinking about you. Why did he go? Was it something I said? We were having such a good conversation. It bruises her ego slightly. So always
Yeah.
be the first one to end it. Always be the first one to end the conversation, guys. End it on a high note. Just
Well,
tell her,
let's
I
break
gotta go.
this down because I think this is a hidden kind of game secret that guys might not understand because, right, guys hear correctly that women are about emotions. You want to get a girl's emotions engaged. So guys are probably hearing this going, well, if I'm talking to a girl and it's going really well, she's laughing, we're having this great connection. Most guys are going to take that and go, well, I need to squeeze as much juice out of that as I can because we're human beings, right? It feels good to get validated by a beautiful woman. It feels good to have that connection, that
Mhm.
flirtation. So most guys are going to take that scenario and go, well, if it's going really well, I don't want to lose this
Mhm.
opportunity because what if we don't get this opportunity of this great connection again, right? That's the playing scared piece. But I completely agree with Czar here. You want to give her a taste, build it up to where she's into you, and then you eject because now you're leaving off this really high energy situation, and now she's has a really good taste of you in her mouth. Versus the guys, and I run into these guys all the time that especially because guys will come to me for so many texting questions is guys will be like, yeah, I just met this girl, we've chatted, we've been talking the last 2 weeks like all day long, we have great conversations, we have so much in common, and that already is like, yeah, that's a big red flag. Now you are now getting all of the emotions, all of the commonalities, all of that out through your texting or through you talking on the phone, and now what is left for her to look forward to when you meet up? So I think that's a really important point for guys to understand is that when things are going well and she's really highly energized and engaged, you don't want to beat that to death and keep trying to push it and push it and push it and go for a 3 hour phone call, right? That's not, it's going to feel good in the moment, but it's going to hurt your long-term attraction, your long-term mystery, your long-term being a busy guy that has, a in-demand schedule, right? If you're spending 3 hours on the phone with this girl, you know, 5 days a week when you first meet her, how is she ever going to take your time seriously? That you're a busy guy, right? You're able to put out 15 hours throughout the week just for talking on the phone with her. That is going to make her go, well, this guy is not that ambitious or driven because guys that are high status don't have time to sit there and talk to a random girl they just met for 15 hours a week. They should be doing other things.
Mhm. And guys, listen, I'm going to call some of you guys out because guys message me. They tell me their issues. They're dating these women and they're talking to them on the phone, FaceTiming them nearly every other day for hours at a time. And in my mind, I'm thinking all that mystery is gone, all that suspense, that tension gone. You have to be the roller coaster ride for the woman, not the teacup ride. So when you abruptly end it with the girl, you're keeping it at 5, 10, 15 minutes, it's going well. You let her know, use the Hank Moody line. Listen, I have to go. I have to see a man about a horse, and just hang up. Whatever it is, who gives a fuck? I have company. I'm about to have Bible study. Oh, I got to finish this poem I'm writing. Who gives a she's gonna wait a minute? He writes poems. Who cares? Just be sarcastic. Say something outrageous, something stupid, and just hang up on her. You'd be surprised how well that works. She'll be thinking about you for that hour to 2 hours after that phone call because it has that residual effect. Did I do something wrong? I've never had a guy abruptly hang up on me like that when the conversation was going so well. But you remain a mystery. And sometimes you'll have women. I like to play this game. I'll ask them when their birthday is, what kind of sign they are, because automatically they want to reciprocate that and ask you back. Oh, so when's your birthday? What sign are you? And then not only do you make them guess, usually they never guess it right, but you don't tell them. Now they get so pissed off, but you're still a mystery. I'm not revealing everything about myself. I'm keeping it vague. I'm making them work for it because you saved that for the date. That has to be earned. I'm not going to just tell any random woman what my sign is or when my birthday is. Who gives a fuck? She's not my girlfriend. I don't care. Okay, so you guys have to stop revealing everything over the phone. But I like that you said you'll have a girl call you when she gets to the date spot. So you break that awkwardness a little bit by hearing her voice, she hears your voice. That's another reason why I like to FaceTime when I meet girls on dating apps because it breaks that awkwardness. So when you guys first see
Yeah.
each other, you've already spoken to one another.
And I think the same topic of like the conversation's going well, ending it early on before it dries out is the same idea with how I look at texting too, is guys get in that same pattern where they're texting a girl and things are going well. And then they're like, this is so much fun. We're bantering. We're being playful. We have so much in
Mhm.
common. We're figuring out so much about each other through the texting. And guys are going, well, this is so much fun to text this girl. I haven't felt like this in a while. And then they're trying to cram all of that into their text conversation for that day.
Mhm.
Whereas like you could still take a witty fun texting conversation, and one guy and a girl might have 20 texts to each other in one day with this fun bantering. Well, me and a girl on a dating app or me and a girl I'm texting, I might have that same 20 text exchange over 7 days. And so now we're having each day, we're having these still engaging conversations. I can still think of witty or bantering things to say, but I'm spacing out my replies to her so that she's waiting on my replies and she's getting that anticipation of when is that next witty text coming in. And then the whole time that's happening, right, if I'm texting this girl back and forth and it's I'm taking 2 or 3 hours to respond for her to get those witty texts rather than 2 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes like a lot of guys are doing. Now what that leaves room for is the 3 hours between my replies, she's getting other guys messaging her back and forth trying to squeeze out all the juice in their texting conversations. So now, while she's waiting for that 3 hours from my text that she's
Mhm.
excited about, Danny and Billy and Gregory over here are blowing her phone up with boring conversations, trying to squeeze everything out, trying to ask her all these questions about herself. And so now, while she's waiting on my text for those 3 hours, every single text that Billy's sending her and Gregory's sending her notification pops up, and now she's getting that hit of, ooh, is this Adam's witty reply? I can't wait to see it. And she looks at her phone. She goes, it's Billy, boring Billy again. Dang
Mhm.
it. Oh, it's Gregory. Gosh, this guy won't leave me alone. But you see what's happening is every time we're having this witty conversation, right? And because I'm stretching out longer, she's still engaged. She's still excited about our conversation. And now the other betas and the simps in her life are raising my status by them messaging her so frequently. Too many guys play it scared, going, well, if I don't take my opportunity, other guys will jump in there and win her over. That is so unconfident. I go, this girl's going to love me either way. And I want those other betas and simps to go on her phone to remind her how much cooler I am than those guys. So I never get scared about competing with other men. I use those other men to raise my status because they make way more mistakes than I do in my texting. So she's waiting on my text, excited about them, and she's getting the beta text and now getting excited. Was that Adam? It wasn't Adam. Why is he not messaging me? Why do I have to talk to boring Billy again? So that is how I
Mhm.
like to extrapolate the text game to get her really waiting on me, excited about me. waiting, and then she gets that text from me, and now she wants to squeeze that juice out with me because our conversation is fun. So now women get my text after 3 hours, and she replies within 5 or 10 minutes, going, "I want to catch Adam on his phone. Hopefully, he'll give me a text quicker this time." So now she's starting to message me quicker. I'm still taking my time, but now I'm building this momentum up where she is the chaser. She's chasing me. She's initiating. And that is how I get it to where women are always chasing after me in my conversations because of these type of strategies I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that strategy. It's the same with men when you're texting an attractive girl and you keep thinking that she's the one that messaged you every time your phone vibrates or you hear that sound and it's some other fucking douchebag or it's some girl you don't even care about. You get excited looking at your phone hoping that it's that girl, and when it's not, once again, you're going through the lows and the highs of those emotions, and the girl is going through the same thing. So take your time messaging her, but I like to strike when the iron is hot. So I know he had the question of when do you ask them out? After you get their phone number, what's the best time? It all depends on the situation. If the attraction is high and the sexual tension is also high, I'm going to ask her out that same weekend. So if I'll get her phone number on a Monday, Tuesday, I'll ask her out for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But I always ask if she's available during the weekend, right? We're going to grab a drink together. That usually works for me because what I noticed is if it's not a girl that you're seeing at the gym or at a place regularly, a lot of these women can move on and easily forget about you within that week, especially with the times we're in now. They can meet another guy that they like more than you. That's it. You're out of the picture. So within that week, if you're not trying to establish that comfort, if you're not building that attraction, if you're not trying to see her, another guy might come in the picture, especially with how many options women have nowadays. So I like to strike when the iron is hot. If I know I'm going to keep seeing her at the gym, I don't care. Like I can wait, right? I really don't give a fuck. I know the attraction is still high, but if I know I'm never going to see this girl, or if she's on vacation, if she's visiting, you strike when the iron is hot. Do not fucking wait. I might even go out with them that same night when I meet them during the day. I swear to God, and I've done this before with girls that were on vacation visiting, or girls, women and girls, beautiful women and girls who were at the gym visiting from a different state. Women I've never seen before. I'll ask them out that fucking night, depending on when they're leaving. Strike when the iron's hot. Who gives a fuck? What's the worst they're gonna say? No? Okay. Not wasting my time. But that's how I like to do it. You have to be socially calibrated. You have to get a feel whether or not the attraction is high enough, whether or not you built that sexual tension, whether or not you built that connection with her. You guys have to gauge it. I can't do it for you. When's the right time to ask her out? I just know. And that's over years of experience. If she doesn't have high interest for you, okay, you got to build that chemistry, you got to build that attraction with the way Adam taught you. Reply to her messages slowly, keep it vague, keep that air of mystery, tease her a little bit, say something witty, bold statements, cocky and funny, especially with that foot comment that you said. I would have teased her even more when she called me. I would have said, "Was your nickname Bigfoot during middle school or high school?" I would have just kept going with it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I can't remember what I said. I said something like do you have 6 toes like that? It
Hmm.
was something like that, and there was something a little bit weird on her photo that no one else noticed because everyone's looking at her cleavage. But because I pointed something out at her ankles or her feet, and she's like, most guys are looking at my chest or whatever. Then she looks
Hmm.
back, she's like, what is that? And then she wanted to explain herself. Like, oh no, that was something in the background of blah blah. No, I don't have 6 toes. It was something of that nature. But yeah, it was just the curiosity piece of like, instead of me being like, "Oh, you look so beautiful," I'm like, what's up with your feet?
Hmm.
What's up?" Yeah,
I would have told her, yeah, I just saw a Bigfoot documentary. I could have sworn that that footprint was yours.
yeah. That
I
would have
could
worked
have,
perfectly on this girl
yeah.
because she had such a high ego because she really did. She
Hmm.
had like thousands of followers on Instagram, and she was like just a really good double D fake boobs that she got in. But yeah, that yeah. So yeah, back with that was Czar. I agree. The so See, again, my game is I will never strike when the well, I
Well,
strike when the irons.
say if
Yeah.
she's on vacation, right? You meet a girl
Mhm.
around your area and she says, "Oh, I'm visiting from Cali or from Italy. I'm here from Sweden." You're not going to say, "Well, let's go out for a drink tonight." You see,
No, no,
that's what I
no.
mean. Like
So I'm
strike when the iron is hot.
Yeah, what I would say is what like I would agree with you when I'm if a girl was on vacation like that, again, the first type of thing I'd be like, "Oh, cool. How long are you staying here for?" So now I'm getting that timeline, my deadline of how
Yes, you're
long or
right.
quick I have to work.
I missed that part. You're right.
Yeah, and then I will do this a lot when I'm on vacation because I'm the dating app guy, right? The texting guy.
Hmm.
So I will meet girls on dating apps when I'm visiting in places, and I might only have 2 days there. So that is when I will speed up the process of everything I do, only in those specific scenarios. In a real life
Hmm.
situation, I don't care how many other guys she meets. My game is going to outlast their game through texting. Like I'm not going to make the mistakes that those guys do, so there might be some guys that squeeze out a date with that girl before me,
Hmm.
but even if they're cool and confident in person, to me, they're going to blow it through texting eventually, and I will outlast them, and my iron will consistently get hotter and hotter and hotter to strike. So I would say in this scenario, it would be you might want to think about the different types of game because Czar's got that good in-person game and he can so if you're that guy that you don't have the texting skills, right? Well, yeah, I can teach those to you, but if you have way better in-person game, then maybe you will take more of Czar's approach and just try to strike while the iron's hot. But when you have that, like I know exactly how to play it on a text. I can tell on like just the subtlest texting. Oh, okay, she showed a little more interest there. Now I got her, and then I'll keep progressing that slowly over time to get that really hot. But again, know yourself, guys. That's why we have both Czar and myself on here. Is he's going to go after more things in person and more quickly. I'm going to play that long game where I'm going to grow on her slowly, slowly, slowly over time, and I will get my opportunity. But it's going to maybe take me a little bit longer to build that up, where Czar might go in quicker.
Yeah, so it's similar to different types of animals in the animal kingdom. You could kill your prey very quickly, end it, or you can inject them with venom and just
Yeah.
watch the potency, watch the power take effect over time. So it depends. I think it depends on what kind of a person you are. You could be a stealth bomber, or you could just be the machine gun.
Yeah, and that right, that's a perfect example of what we always talk about, right? Czar's playing more of
Mm.
the alpha game. I'm playing the sigma game. I'm the under the radar. I'm gonna get you in my spider web and I'm going to slowly kill you with my venom. Whereas Czar is gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna hunt you down right
I'm gonna
now.
pounce on you.
You cannot run away from me. I'm a lion. I'm gonna take
Mhm.
you down. Where I'm like, I'm that Black Widow. I'm going to spin you in my web and slowly you're not even going to see it coming until all of a sudden you're just stuck there frozen and you know you're mine. So two
You don't
different
even know what
ways.
happened to you. Yeah, you don't even know what happened to you. How did I get in this web?
Yeah.
How did
I
I get
got
this venom
paralyzed. The
inside of me?
venom's
Yeah.
I'm frozen now. I can't do anything. I'm stuck. I can't even think about another guy.
Hmm.
I'm all into him, right? And then Czar's like, that zebra's sitting there dancing around in the prairie and all of a sudden it's bit in the neck and it didn't even see it. The lion just attacked it. So there are two different ways to play this game, which is why it's fun. I mean, there's more than two different ways, but Sigma or Alpha is the way over the beta game. The beta simp game will never work.
Yeah, the passive, just don't be passive. Like you don't being passive is not a masculine trait. There's a difference between being a stealth bomber, being the widow, being the snake. There's a big difference. Okay, they're not passive. They know what they want. They go after what they want. But being passive, I had this one girl I was dating and messing with, and she was seeing another guy because I didn't want a relationship with her. She was seeing this other guy. She told me about him because I fucked her that same night after she told me this too. So she was seeing this rich guy who was good looking, pure gentleman, but she didn't feel any attraction. And I said, why? She said, because he had so many times to make a move and make out with me and kiss me, and he didn't. He was passive. She lost all attraction for him. He didn't go after what he wanted. And she never saw him again. But guess who gave her that hot beef ejection that same night? Once again, they always come back. They always come back, Adam. Always. If you play your cards right, they ain't going nowhere. Even after
Yeah.
they break up with their beta cuck boyfriend they found, you're the first guy they're gonna go after.
Yeah, that is a good distinction too, because I have much more of a passive game, but it's like a trapdoor spider where
Yeah.
I'm playing the game, but I'm playing with intention, and I am not over making my move
Mhm.
ever. But when she walks right around my little trap door, and I see, okay, she's ready to be kissed, now I pop up out and I grab her and take her down in my trap door web, and it's like I'll go in now. I'll strike, but I'm gonna wait until I see, okay, she's making that first move, so she's gonna be chasing me. Now I strike, and I'm going to always hit my opportunities, but I'm waiting patiently for those opportunities.
Yeah, so you guys have to look in the mirror. You can't be like the czar. You can't be like the texting prince. There's only one Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? People, I think a lot of guys in today's dating world, in today's society, they're trying to be someone they're not. And women can see through that facade. You have to stay true to yourself. Write down what your strengths are. Are you more of the smooth, calculated guy? Are you more of the cold-hearted gentleman? Right? Are you more of the cocky, lovable asshole? Are you more of the charming, sweetheart gentleman? Right? Are you more of the alpha go-getter? So you guys have to understand what your archetype is. You have to know what your avatar is, what type of personality you have. Because anytime I tried being someone else, it never worked for me until I put the puzzle pieces together and I enhanced my personality.
And that I
Okay.
think that's a good example too, is that I'll get messages from guys that saying, "Hey, love the podcast," and I'll get two different type of responses. I'll get guys that say, "Man, I really relate more with your game, Adam. Like that's more of my game, the kind of the passive, just kind of waiting
Mhm.
around for opportunities to strike." Other guys would be like, "Hey, I relate to Czar's game. I'm more of like a go-getter. I see what I want and I go to get that." And so again, funnel the type of game that's going to work for your personality, and then you just keep enhancing that how you go. Like I mentioned before, I was an ex public school teacher, so when I was teaching second graders, like what do you think about when, like, Zara, what is your first impression if you hear a guy is a second grade teacher? Like, you give it to me, Brew. I take no offense to this. I know what kind of the reputation is. So, like, what would you, yeah, what would you categorize a guy that teaches second grade?
A guy that teaches second grade. Well,
Like,
I'd look at you as someone who knows how to control a crowd, especially a young, immature crowd. Someone who's analytical, someone who knows how to make it fun for them, someone who probably knows how to set boundaries if you're really good at what you do with second graders.
yeah, but
So,
imagine you didn't even know it was me talking. Like, if you just hear, oh, there's a second grade male teacher, like,
oh,
is your,
I see what you're saying.
yeah,
Vagina. I
yeah,
see what you're saying.
exactly. Right?
Vagina.
They're
Okay.
gonna think, oh, this guy, oh, he's sweet, sensitive, oh, he likes kids. You probably think he's feminine. So that also worked into my game. One, because I couldn't let my public reputation get destroyed in my community. So I had to be very passive about it. I have a friendly face. I'm friendly to everyone. And then how I strike with women is that they see that I have that ballsy, decisive side, especially with women, where I can make my moves and all that. So I'm playing off like a, hey, I'm just a friendly second grade teacher. Hey guys, all that, right? It's not that alpha, like dominant, the captain of the gym type vibe. But girls would expect me to be more beta or feminine. And then by the way I text them, they're like, this is so weird. I was expecting some, like a lot of the teachers I met that were male teachers were awkward guys, quite honestly, just awkward in the elementary
Yeah.
school for the most part. So girls would be like, "Oh, I love that you teach kids and all that," expecting me to be some beta that's just going to be their, step dad for her three children she already has. But they get that by my messaging, and I'm like cold, direct. I don't say a lot. I'm not giving them much. Then they're like, "This is weird. There's something more to this." And now I'm using my label that I already know women are going to think of, oh, effeminate, beta type of guy. And now I'm using that to put them in a trance basically because they're like, this is so weird. This is not what I expected, but it's in a good way. They were expecting me
Mhm.
to be some beta pushover. So again, that's also how I morphed my game. So guys, think about your game, your job occupation, how you're going to be perceived by the world. And you got to use that. You got to understand how women are going to perceive you and use that to your advantage to give them something different than they're expecting
Mhm.
or to be congruent if you're coming off as that alpha that you're going to still have that alpha energy.
Exactly. Because not everyone really has that alpha energy. You can have that sigma energy, could have that lone wolf energy, but you never want to have beta passive energy. You never want to just be the nice guy. If you are a good guy, you are a nice guy. You got to have an edge to you. You need to have some type of a dark edge because being just nice will never win with the ladies or win you anything in life to begin with. So
Yep.
you need to pick your avatar and stick with it and see what works for you.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions about that, message
Mhm.
either of us or send us an email and say, "Hey guys, I'm this is kind of how I see myself. Like what do you think I should focus on? Here's my, here's my situation, here's my day-to-day job. Here's, like tell us, are you more of like I want to unlock that alpha czar energy or it's like, hey, I need to figure out how to morph more of my
Mhm.
sigma game into my lifestyle and we can help you guys figure that out, but you want to develop that identity so that um that you have a plan, you have an action plan that makes sense and that will be congruent to the women that you're messaging.
Yes. So if you guys have any other questions, let us know. Message us. If you have any good stories you want us to break down for you, send us an email. Don't hesitate. Usually we'll read certain emails that are good, that are juicy, that a lot of other guys can learn from.
Mhm.
Um, if you have any other topics you want us to discuss, please let us know.
Yep, we always looking for what to give you guys what you're looking for, like, we can talk about game in any different direction. So let us know what you
Mhm.
guys are wondering about, and we'll try to help you out. And again, right, March 6th, Czar? March 6th,
March 6th.
6 p.m. PST. That's Wednesday nights for you guys. So it's going to be Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get in, get your application in. Again, we're gonna go by first come, first serve and mention that you've listened to the podcast, you'll get the $200 off. And then we can get started. And again, if you really want to get in, but you can't make every Wednesday night, you're still going to get all of the seminars recorded where we go over a whole new topic. You're going to see the whole Q&A. And then if you're in the program and you're like, hey, I
Mhm.
can't make it this Wednesday, but I really have a couple questions I want to ask, you can let Zara I know and we'll write those down and we'll go, okay, we're going to make sure to cover those in the Q&A so that you can see them on the replay. So you're going to have all of our courses and programs, you're going to have seminar topics plus all this Q&A, and you get 5 weeks of that to really improve, step up your game.
Yes. Yes. Listen, guys, you get $1,000 worth of value from all of our courses included. So you guys
Plus
are they're
multiple
getting a good
hours
deal.
each week. We
Yeah.
started this thinking we were going to do 1 hour a week for coaching, and we turned it into 2 to 3 hours every week because we wanted to give more. We're like, man, we got to teach them this about the seminar. We got to go over that topic, and then when guys get questions, like I know that me and Zara are both the same way. It's like I get excited about that, man. Like guys know that have been on these programs.
Mhm.
Zara and I are like, guys, we'll keep going until you guys are done with your questions.
Yeah, we
Or
have fun
or
with you
if
guys.
if one of us has to drop out, usually Zara or I, one of us will close it down and make sure that we'll stay for all the questions each week.
Yeah. And we have fun doing this because we do it for you guys. We love you guys and we want you to have successful relationships, have women falling in love with you, being compliant, getting them to be submissive to you, getting them to invest. The whole nine. So, like I said, we hold your hand from beginning to end, from attraction to seduction to her chasing you and falling in love with you.
Absolutely. And one last thing, and again, Zara, if you have anything coming up, let them know too.
Mhm.
But I do have on Valentine's Day, that's Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. I'm doing a texting masterclass, the art of texting women, where I'm really going to take you guys through like some high level stuff about texting women and how to really transform form your game and communication with women through texting, because texting is the funnel that every woman uses now. You approach a girl, right? You're going to exchange phone numbers, or you're going to get a social media of hers, and now you're going to be DMing her. That's still messaging. So everything goes through the cell phone these days for women, and they use that as a filtering of who they're going to meet up with or go on a date with. So Valentine's Day, you single guys, you're not doing anything. Let's get on, drink a beer, have some fun, learn about
Mhm.
texting women. Czar, do you have anything you want to mention about your website
Except
or anything?
that, like I said, my courses are up. You could check out my website, czardating.com. But if you really want to master the texting game, take that mastery texting course with Adam. Okay. If you if you don't know how to text a girl properly and you make crucial mistakes, you can't be making these mistakes anymore in today's modern dating era. It's not going to cut it, fellas. You have to be damn near perfect with your game and your mouthpiece, or you might lose the girl that someone else is going to marry or that someone else is going to be in a relationship with. And I've been there before. You'd never want to lose those types of women that you knew you could have had, but you made these little mistakes that fucked you up in the end. That's a bad feeling. Even though it
Yeah.
motivates you, it's a bad feeling.
Yep. And every guy knows that you learn a few pieces of the game. You're like, dang it. If I knew that 5 years ago with this girl, oh, I could have had her. I would have. Well, good. Hey, it's better to learn now so you don't have that same regret in the future for the women you're meeting. It's like, okay, I got
Mhm.
this new girl now, and now I have a plan. I know how to keep her engaged. I know how to not over pursue. I know how to send the right signals that she's going to want to spend more time. She's going to want to meet up with me.
Mhm.
So, yeah, again, with that, guys, you can just go to my website, textingprince.com, and you'll see on the top there's a texting masterclass. You click on that to register, and yeah, we'll get in there, and there's going to be a Q&A at the end, too, to ask any of your questions, but you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Texting Prince, at Texting Prince, and
Hmm.
also at Czar of Dating. Support us, follow us on our YouTube channels as well. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next podcast. We might be doing how to set your boundaries and different types of boundaries to set with a woman you are dating or in a relationship with. And we will list you all of our boundaries.
Yep.
Either she complies or she says bye. That's it.
All right, guys, take care, and remember, get those applications in. And once they're in, we send you that email. Once you make your payment, your spot is saved. We won't give that to anyone else, and you'll get to start going through all of our courses and programs, all of the game stuff, and then especially
Mhm.
guys, it's like, hey, I want to figure out working out, the workout program, get your body in shape. Well, Czar's got that ready for you too, the workout program. So there's a lot of ways you can prepare for this to really make the most of the opportunity. So get the applications in, and we will see you guys next week on the podcast.
Take care, guys.